Hey, I'm Shelby.
And I'm Courtney.
We're exploring our past.
Looking forward to our future.
And living for the present, all while learning how to live magically. Hi. Hello.
Hey.
I'm so excited for today's episode.
I am too.
Are finally chatting with Casey, who you all may know of as Casey Marie Photography. She has been doing my photos for Pixie for like 2 years now, and I don't think I could ever have anybody else take them. She's like forever capturing our good side, I would say.
For sure.
She also just shot my wedding, which she knocked out of the park, 10 out of 10. But her story on how she became a photographer is pretty incredible. Like, who needs school, I suppose, right?
Yep.
And yeah, I think she's really just crushing it. So it was really nice to hear her story. We didn't fully know like how she got started, so it was fun to hear. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it, and make sure you give her a follow after you're done with this podcast.
Thanks for being here.
Let's jump into it. Hello.
Hey, girl.
Hey, Casey.
Hey, Casey.
Oh my God, we're so excited to have you on here today. 3 weeks ago, it wasn't a podcast about you, but it basically felt like a podcast about you because we just like hyped the crap out of you. So now we're here and we want to know all about you.
That's really terrifying.
It's really not. It's really not. Because like, I think you need a reminder to toot your own horn. So we are here to toot it for you today.
100%. Toot.
And like, so you started taking pictures of me, and then that's when we became friends like 2 years ago. And I think I briefly know the story about how you got started, but I don't actually know the story. So I'm like really excited to jump into this. Like, I remember briefly talking about this on a walk from the TTC to Magic Kingdom, but I don't fully remember it because it was like a long walk and it was really hot that day. Okay, but before we get into that, I want to know just about you and tell the people all about you, Casey, not Cassie. Let's all just get that right, that it's Casey, not Cassie.
I will answer to both. It's really hard.
You do answer to both?
I do. Okay, let's be real. Like, the way that my name is spelled makes it very difficult. And there are so many people that call me Cassie because they just like glance at my name and then they're like, "Oh, Cassie." And I'm like, "I'll correct you once, and then we'll just go with it."
So you're kind to people. You just like let it go.
I am in my 30s. I've had to learn to let it go.
All right, fair. Okay, so Florida is your home base, although you also do shoots in North Carolina, which we can get to. But were you born and raised in Florida?
Yes, I was born and raised 20 feet, basically, from where I live now. I'm kidding. Like a mile down the road. I was born and raised down the road. Went to the high school here in my hometown and never left. That's not true. I left. I went to college and then came back.
I feel like there's not a whole lot of people that are like born and raised in Florida.
Oh, yeah. We're very few and far between. Everyone is a migrant.
Yes. And you hope to stay in Florida or like?
Love Florida. Like, don't get me wrong, but like it is only getting hotter every single year. And I also live in the city where all of the migrants migrate to. So I currently live about a mile outside of the Villages, Florida. So if anybody wants to look up the Villages and watch those really fun movies that were made about the Villages, I live a mile from there. I was born before it existed, so I grew up with it.
Fair enough. Okay. Go ahead.
I love Florida, but we don't plan on living here forever.
I don't know if I could do Florida forever either, but like, I'm just not one for the heat, so more power to you guys down there. All right.
It's not as bad as it looks.
It's pretty bad. I've been there before when it's really hot.
You're right.
Because you come from somewhere that has a really like normal temperature pretty much all year round. I'm sure June, July, August, not the best up there, but like it's not the best anywhere. But then you come down here.
And I melt. You have been there for the shoots where I am melting, and I'm just like, I can't handle this. It's just,
Are we done yet? 5 minutes in?
it's just not for me. It's not for me. Okay. If you are not working, which you work a lot, what can we find you doing?
Fascinating working.
Okay, no, but really.
Going to Disney. Mostly because that's like the one thing that I do that's like just for me. Like I didn't used to be this way. I think I got a pass like 5 years ago, and that was when I was like, oh, like this could be fun. Like I can go to the parks, have some popcorn, come back home. We live an hour from Magic Kingdom, so the only problem is getting on the turnpike and driving there, which has only gotten worse every single year. They're like doing construction on the turnpike for the rest of forever. But going to Disney, and also we bought a house back in October. So if I am not working, I am working on the house.
Which you have done incredible things to your house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I need to swing by your house for a little tour and inspiration, because just every project you do when you post about it, I'm like floored that you did it, and also that you like upgraded a house that much. I don't know, like it looks like you live in a bohemian chic like 2023 built home. It's like amazing.
It looks a lot bigger in pictures.
But like
Don't
I'm not even
believe
talking
everything you
about
see on
the size. I'm not even talking about the size. I'm just talking about like it looks so well put together. Like you just do such a nice job with the details. Even like the sign behind your head right now is so cute that like it looks, I don't know, it looks, maybe that's what makes it look bigger. Maybe that's what makes it look cuter. I don't know, but you do a great job on your home projects. I love watching.
And also from Instagram, it looks like they happen really fast. So like good for you. I'm sure it doesn't feel fast, but like it was like you moved in and the whole place had new floors overnight. So like,
to be fair, we rented the house that we were living in from family, which thank you to them. So we didn't have, we had time. Like we didn't have to be like, you have to be out by this certain date and then you have to be into your new house. So we had time like after we bought the house to, I mean, it did happen immediately, but like we were like, well, we're going to do the floors anyway, so why not do it while there's nothing here?
Smart.
In the situation. Yeah.
Smart.
We were in it like a day.
And I don't want to forget, because I know you have an Instagram that like shares the house and all your house projects. What is that Instagram?
The Elton Abode.
Awesome. And I'll put that in like the show notes, because it's a very like aesthetically pleasing Instagram account.
Yeah, agree.
Okay.
They're like, how many Instagram handles do you have? And I'm like, probably 7.
I don't know how you keep up with them, honestly, because I have 2 and I can't do it. So good for you. All right. If you weren't doing photography, like if you didn't make that your career, what do you think you would be doing?
I went to college to do music education. I was going to be a high school choir director. That was like the job that I had been pushed into doing. I love art and creative things. Clearly, hello, hi. And I've been doing photography for forever. But I was like, I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to go into teaching. I'm going to teach music. My mother-in-law was my high school choir director when I was in high school. Yeah. And her son is who I married.
That would make her your mother-in-law, yes.
But I got I went to UCF, so here in Central Florida, University of Central Florida, the Knights. I was like, I'm going to take over for her. I'm going to come back. I'm going to take over for her, and I'm going to be the Leesburg High School choir director. And got all the way into my senior internship at UCF, and that's when I decided I didn't really want to be an educator.
Okay, continue on. Like, so then you graduated though with that degree, yes?
Yes.
But
Okay.
My internship teacher, he was incredible. He really like molded me and like taught me how to do all of the things that I know how to do. I can teach. I love teaching. Like I love like sharing what I do with people, and I feel like that's something that like if I can't do photography 10 years down the road, teaching will probably be what I fall back into. But it was just like the state of education in Florida was like one of the biggest things for me. And then two, he sat down with me and he was like, you know what, like you're really great at teaching these kids, they love you. And you're really good at like helping them to be better at performing, singing, whatever. But like you're also doing this thing on the side and like you're really good at that. And if that's something that you like see yourself doing, I would push you into doing something for yourself and being like your own boss and doing something for you instead of working for the state and, you know, being a teacher. And, you know, you have this degree, you can come back to it if this is what you really want to do. But if there's something else you're good at, why don't you try that first?
well, okay, a round of applause to that guy. Like,
Yeah.
seriously though, like especially if you were in an internship to like learn things from him and he was like pushing you to your passion that maybe you didn't even really know was fully your passion, like wow, good for that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so then if you decided to not do that and you went full blown into photography, did you teach yourself photography or
Yes. Yeah, pretty much everything. I learned literally by like trial and error. I wasn't even one of the people who like looks at like YouTube and is like, I'm gonna watch this video and I'm gonna do this. Which like shout out to YouTube because that's where a lot of the people who are like my age and have been doing it as long as I have been doing it. That's like where they learned everything. But also I will say I did take a course at my college here in Leesburg. So we have like Sumter State College. So I did like a year there before I went to UCF. So I had like my AA before I got my bachelor's. And I took a photography course. It was not like how to take pictures 101. It was more of like how to use Photoshop 101. But like we were able to ask questions. So it really wasn't like a how to use your camera. It was more of like how to do the other stuff. But I think it did help me a little bit with like getting better at certain things because the picture has to be good before I put it in the computer.
Of course, of course. So you taught yourself literally how to take the picture, how to pose people for the picture, how to edit the picture, but also how to like fully run a business and like get that from the ground up.
Yeah, and in Florida there is no like how to start a business 101. Like there is no like you literally like just hope for the best and then learn through trial and error. And you know, like I bought a contract off the internet, the first contract I ever had, and then from there we learned lessons and got lawyers involved in the contracts, and now we are where we are. And then also just like taxes. I have a CPA. She's incredible. Love her. Shout out. She's taught me a lot too.
I'm going to need that number because I do not have a good CPA in Florida.
She's like so personable. Shout out to her.
Cool.
I think we need a separate podcast on small business taxes and how scary they are because that is like a nightmare I think I have once a week is like, I'm probably going to jail someday for like something I didn't even know that I didn't do. It's like
everybody has that feeling, but try being a small business owner because it's 50 times worse.
Yeah, I was like sending in all my tax information the other day, like all the things that I needed, and I was like, is this all the documents? I have no idea. And there's like 50 of them. But anyways, that is the scariest part of small business, like, and especially when I don't know anything about it either, and I'm just trying it. Okay, so then I guess how did so you didn't have a business degree, likewise. How did you grow your business into what it is now?
So when you first start out in photography, you do a lot of things for free, and you learn, and you do the things for free, and then you learn more, and then you start charging 2% of what you're worth, and then you grow, and then you charge 10% of what you're worth, and you go from there. When I like first started taking pictures of people, it was like senior photos for my friends. I literally started taking pictures of people in high school. Like that was when I got my first camera. Was actually the first year I went to Lake Sumter. I had scholarship money, and I already had a computer, so I went to my lady and I was like, "Hey, can I use scholarship money to camera?" And she's like, "Yeah." If that's what you want. Are you like enrolled in a photography class? Ironically, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess,
That's really cool.
how long do you think it took you to really put value on your work for yourself?
I don't think I do now, still, which is really hard to say, but like you shaking your head. You know how it feels. It's one of those things where like you are a creative, and so every time that you produce something, you're like, is this still worth it? Like, is this good enough? Are they gonna like it? Oh, I hope they like it. Like, I love it, but are my clients going to love it? Like, I love what I do, but are my clients going to love the end result? Like, I had such an incredible day at this wedding, but are the pictures going to be what they wanted? I don't know. It's just like this internal struggle that we have every day.
I completely agree. And obviously I have it like a little different because I'm selling a physical like product, and of course the t-shirt cost me X amount of money, and then it cost me X amount to put the design on it, yada yada yada. But it's really hard to like put a value on that, let alone for you, you're putting a value on your talents, of course, but also your time, which
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't understand how much time goes into what a photographer does. They think that you just like take the photos and like, here you go, they're done, which is, I know for sure is not at all how it goes. I guess you used a word to me when you did my wedding photos as if I like knew the photographer term. And I think you called it culling.
Yes. Culling. Getting rid of the crap.
Which, so just, I'm jumping ahead here, but just at my wedding, you took like how many photos?
You don't really want to know, do you?
Yeah, I do. I think the people need to know this.
Like probably close to 4,000 photos between your wedding and the desert photo shoot, because desert photo shoot, there were also 3 people taking your photos.
Yes. So then you went through and culled the photos. So you had to look at 4,000 photos just to get rid of some, which really I don't think you got rid of many because I think I still got like 1,700.
Yeah.
Which you then edited all those 1,700 photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where people
Wow.
like don't realize how much work goes into it, which is me tooting your own horn to value your time.
Yeah, toot.
Just to put that out there. I'm still fascinated here though. How long have you been doing this?
Since 2012. Wow. So what is that? Like 11 years? What is that? Is that math? Yeah?
Yes.
I'm really bad at math.
So 2012 is when you like started Casey Marie Photography.
So it was originally called Chaotic Photography.
Oh.
And that was because that was also back in like the MySpace days. Like, remember where like you like tried to find something that like rhymed with your first name? Like try having a C as your first letter. There's like not much that like it's like what is it? You're like Casey Chaos was please don't go there. It was 12 years ago.
Fair.
But then I changed my business name and like actually became like a business in Florida in 2016.
Okay. So 2012 you started. When did you shoot your first wedding?
2000 and I looked this up. It was this incredible couple that trusted me with their day, and it was one of those like it was such a good day, but it also rained. So like this was my very first wedding, and it rained. So it was like such a learning experience. And I think that was in 2000 and either 13 or 14.
So pretty quick.
Yeah.
Did you second shoot for anybody prior to doing your own first wedding?
No. And to any photographers out there who are just starting out, don't do that. Go second shoot for somebody or assist somebody for free. Like I'm the queen of like, don't do anything for free. Your time is worth money. But like when you are learning, the first time that you go to a wedding, assist somebody because you are going to see so much that happens and it may like completely turn you off from weddings. Like for me, like I love high stress environments. Like I used to be a server. So like
Same.
I can like being around people and dealing with people and like, you know, being able to think on my feet and like, again, high stress environments, love them. That's probably one of the reasons I like this high stress environment.
Fair.
Yeah.
And wait, just like a quick shout out to your skill set in a high stress environment, because at Shelby's, I mean, it is one thing for you to corral the two of us when we're doing a photo shoot at Disney of like a new shirt launch or whatever. And we are both like a lot to manage. But then to watch you literally perfectly execute, because we had an hour, right?
Less than
like
that,
for
really.
ceremony, right? For the whole thing, like from arrival to departure, an hour. And you literally were like, all right, these 3 people over here, these 4 people over here, get out of the way. You're making light. You're making a shadow. Go over here. Do this pose. And like,
what was it that I said to Shelby? I was like, okay, we're going to take pictures and I need for you to both just be like in the zone. And if I'm yelling at you, don't take it the wrong way because we have like literally 15 minutes to take like all the photos that you want here.
but like, look at how good they came out. And it's because you're really good at what you do.
Yes, but I need to know, were you like that just because like you know me and you know Kyle, or like if you have to get into that zone shooting for anybody, even just like a client that just found you, are you that like bam bam bam?
If I have to be, but also like all of my clients that I take, I won't say every single one of them, but I would say like 95% of them I have met on a Zoom call. If that is the first thing that we do, even before they book with me, is they inquire and we hook up on a Zoom call or FaceTime or whatever. Because I want you to see me. I want you to like get to know me. I want you to understand that like this is my personality and how I am and how I do my job. And then if you do engagement session, like that makes it easier too, because then you literally know me. We've already spent 1 to 2 hours together hanging out, you know, doing photos together. And it really has like made it an easier process, like for me to be like, oh, hey, okay, now on your wedding day, like say it's raining and we have to do pictures here and like the sky clears for literally 5 minutes. Okay, we're going to go outside and we're going to take 50 photos in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, and at that point, you've also built up the trust because like you've done the engagement photos and they've come back and obviously you like your recipient loves them. So they know, like when you tell us, I'm going to say boss us around, but it's not in a bossy way at all. But like when you boss us around, I want nothing more because I know that like in your brain hole, the way that it looks is correct.
So yeah, I'm also like super OCD too. So like I would rather fix it now than have to come back and look at the photos and be like, why didn't I fix that?
Yeah.
Well, and that's like, even you've done shoots with me and of course you've done quite a few now, but I'll never forget, there was one time you were like, hey, your hair is behind your ear and you don't usually have your hair behind your ear. Do you like that? And I was like, wow, she really does notice everything. How do you think you can, like, you know how to pose people so well. And I find this crazy that you didn't, like, go to school for this. Because you know to, like, pick my arm up a little so it doesn't look big. Like, I mean, but you also are like, put your chin up. Like, I don't understand how you can, like, look at me and know that when you tell me to do this, I'm going to look better. Like, I don't get that.
On Aaron? Yeah. But also, I'm ridiculous. Every time that me as a woman, we all have our own insecurities, and we all know you get a new outfit and you stand in the mirror and you're like, how do I stand if I'm going to take a picture with my man? Or like, how do I stand if someone's going to take a picture with me? Or like, And that is something that I do. And I also like, again, the insecurity thing. Like I know that my insecurities are like my arms and, you know, like sometimes my legs and, you know, the thing right above them that is large and in charge. So like
Same.
it's one of those where like I know how I would stand. And so I take the things that I know about myself and try to use them for other people. And I'm also like, with all the different types of photography that I do, because I don't just do weddings, I do engagements, I do portraits, I do boudoir as well. And
Yeah, you do.
that is the one of the most like terrifying things for my clients is a boudoir session because they're literally standing there in basically bathing suit, taking pictures. And it's something where I'm like, I want my delivery to be like your best friend is telling you how you look and not just your photographer telling you how you look. I want it to be like, I know you're not going to like this. Change this. You're going to love it. And then I'll show you. And they're like, oh my God, I totally see it. That makes sense. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, we have lived that before. And you are very kind when you do say like, hey, fix your chin, your double chin showing. Just kidding. You've never told me that my double chin is showing, but like I know what you mean. Like, yeah.
What does I say? Stick your chin out a little bit.
Yes.
You'll like it better.
And I'm sure you're a little bit more blunt with me than you are your other clients, but I do appreciate how you do, like, you notice all of the things. All of the things.
I don't believe in photoshopping. I think but that's me. There are people who that is what they do. They stop and spin. They do the things. They are incredible at their craft. I don't want to use Photoshop in the end. I want you to love your pictures the way that I took them with their little edit. But like all I'm doing is like increasing the exposure and making it look like film, not taking your arm and making it not look like your arm, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we need to back up here for a second. I talked about you shooting your first wedding, you said in 2014. Like, I can't imagine the pressure that I would feel to go in and do that.
It was so weird because I'd only been to like my cousin's wedding and I was, okay, shout out to my cousin because and whoever my cousin's photographer was, because I was like what we photographers love to call Uncle Bob. I showed up and brought my own camera and like took pictures from the sidelines. Like, oh, this is the cool picture. Oh, this is the cool. Oh, there's this little. Yeah, that was hindsight. I was a terrible human being. I will say I was really good at ceremony. I put the camera away for the ceremony, but like, you know, yeah. I think that was the thing is that I'd only been to their wedding. And then the wedding that I'd been to before that, I was probably like 8 as like the flower girl.
Yeah.
So like I didn't know how things worked and how the day was going to run. And like those first clients, like shout out to them for being on time and having a ride and having an umbrella available and like all the things that I think of now where I'm like, okay, we need this umbrella and I need to make sure that like if it's raining, we can go here. And then if it's not raining, we have perfect weather, then we can go here, 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 here. So the first wedding was terrifying, but also like I had done their engagement photos. So I knew them as a couple and knew like, okay, we're going to take some pictures here. They also had a wedding that was pretty close to home. So I already knew where they were getting married. It wasn't like I was just showing up and seeing the venue for the first time.
Yeah.
It was, I would say like, overall, it was a very easygoing day other than the rain. And even then, I mean, the rain went away and we got pictures afterwards. So it was really great.
So now, fast forward 10 years, every wedding that you go into, like, I just feel like a wedding is like, sure, an engagement session, we can reshoot, right? If it's like terrible. But a wedding, there's no reshooting. Like, you have to get the content. Do you go into it like pretty confident, or are you feeling like the pressure? There is always going to be pressure, I think, for any wedding, any couple, any day. Like, even if the couple, like,
you and Kyle. Like, if I know you guys, like, there's still this problem. Let's be real. I'm like close friends with you. You want to know who had the most pressure? Your wedding day.
Right.
Well, you nailed it.
Thanks. But like, that's the pressure. Like, I will say, like, every client, I have the pressure of like, okay, like, they've hired me, they love what I do, they love me, they love what I'm bringing to the table, and they trust me. And like, if I'm to fail them today, like, why am I doing what I do? Like, that's how I feel before every wedding. But I will say, like, the anxiety and the pressure that some photographers feel, it's like debilitating. I don't really have the debilitating anxiety before I walk into a wedding day. I'm like, you know what? I've done this probably 400 times at this point. If you surprise me today, I'll be surprised, let me tell you. Because I've seen so much and I've dealt with so much. And I don't just run my own business. I also work for other photographers as the second photographer. So, like, if my friend was to hire me, so like, your second photographer was Mackenzie. She is one of my best friends. And she was also the first photographer to ever trust me as a second photographer. And I did assist her before I was her second photographer. So she is kind of the one that like molded me into like understanding weddings and like seeing how the things go and lighting for receptions. And like, she is the reason that I know what I'm doing, probably.
We all need those good people in our corners. I say that all the time.
Literally. But like, I worked for her a lot. So like, I would take the groomsmen, I would do the groomsmen photos, like while she was taking the bride photos, and like all of the getting ready stuff that's all happening all at the same time. Like, that's the second photographer's job, is basically to like be your cheerleader, but also like take all the pictures that you can't be there to take.
Yeah.
So like, at this point, I've shot probably 450 weddings in these 10, 11 years, because I've also second shot so many times.
And I mean, obviously I have recently learned this from you doing my wedding, is that you're so prepared going into it. Like, you send out the questionnaires, you ask all of the questions. Like, you already knew all the shots that you wanted to get before even walking into the day. So that has to like ease it a little bit. Like, I think maybe you probably over prepare to make sure that you are prepared, which probably eases some of the stress on you.
Yeah, when I walk in, like, the thing is, I have these 2 questionnaires that go to all of my clients. They go out probably like at the 60-day out mark, I think, is when they go out. And then I really don't read them until about the 30-day mark. It's to create the timeline, to make sure that we're all on the same page. If you have a planner, you know, making sure the planner and I are on the same page with that questionnaire, because I don't want to be like over prepared really far out, because things are still going to change 30 days out from a wedding. Things are still going to change 10 days out from a wedding. Let's be real. But it's probably not stuff that's pertinent to me. I just finalized a timeline for the 25th of this month. So it's, you know, I create a family photo list. I send this photo list to the bride. You guys fill it out. It's pretty cut and dry. It's check boxes. You list all the names, and then I will create the family list for you, because I want to make sure that we're getting all of these pictures. But if there's some people around during this time, we can get some pictures here. And then if there's a little downtime here and we have mom and dad, we'll take these pictures here, you know, just to make sure that we're getting like all these really important photos. Because those are like family photos, let's be real. Those are probably the most important part of the day, aside from just being like a fly on the wall. Because like, all of these people are only going to be all in one room for one day for the next maybe 5 to 10 years. So,
Did you, like, your first wedding back in 2013, 2014, did you send out like a questionnaire type thing? Did you have a list of photos? Like, what?
No.
Was it your second wedding that you finally had a list of photos? Or like, when did you realize that I should over prepare to feel prepared?
Probably the second or third wedding that I did with Mackenzie was when I was like, oh, okay, this is like a great idea. She's one of those who, she does like a video chat with her clients, like 30 days out from the wedding. I'm one of those where I'm like, just email me the list, things are fine, if things change, we can hop on a call. Otherwise, like, I don't want to be the problem. You have so much going on this month.
Yeah.
Like, an email response on your time is good for me. But second, third, fourth wedding I did with Mackenzie, where she showed up with the family list, and I was like, yeah, I need that.
I would imagine so. Yeah. Okay. What else? What did you think your favorite thing is about being a photographer?
Well, getting to be creative and like do what I love instead of having to answer to someone else and work for them. That would be like number one. And then number two would be celebrating with people on the best day of their lives.
Yeah, that's gotta be.
Even if it's just a portrait session, right? Because like you hired me to take your grad photos. Like, this is a good day. We're celebrating your graduation, which is like what I started doing, was like grad photos and like senior photos. And then like engagement photos. This is like, you just got engaged. What a great time. Like, and then wedding day. I mean, let's be real. It's the best day of your life, other than if you have a child.
You're like always with people when they're happy. That's a good.
Yeah.
You don't really get like the bad mood of people, unless it's me when it's hot outside.
You're calling yourself out.
I am.
Exactly.
What is your least favorite thing about being a photographer? Don't say dealing with me when it's hot out.
The back end of the business. Definitely the back end of the business. I wouldn't even say emails. Like, let's be real. Like, emails are always daunting, and I will have to sit down here and like. Yesterday, I was like, all right, let's get this email inbox down from 50 to 10. And I did it. So that's great. But like the back end of the business, having to like trust that I'm doing everything right and then question it every day. And then say 10 years down the line, like I did, I changed my business from, I'm going to throw out some legal stuff. I was like self-employed as like just an LLC, and I switched to an S Corp this last year. So I'm now like an employee of my business. And like that's
huge.
Yeah, it's great, but it's also terrifying because like I don't know what I'm doing. And so again, CPA lady, she's like, here's how you do your bill, here's how your taxes are due, here's your this.
I need that.
Yeah. The back end of the business is just like a terrifying, like looming cloud all of the time.
Yes.
Preach. Preach. Okay, I have a really random question. And I have thought this about you for a while. Or I guess any photographer in general. But do you ever take a photo and you're like, I freaking love this photo, and then like your client never shares it? You can use me as an example. Have you ever taken a photo of me and you like love the photo and I have like never shared it?
Well, let's be real, Shelby. I take like 500 photos of you at every session, and then you post like 2.
Right.
That's not true.
No, it's true.
Well, I can only post so many. People get sick of like seeing me. But like, is there a photo that's like your favorite that maybe isn't your client's favorite?
I would say sometimes it's the creative photos, right? So like there's a thing called like a double exposure image where like you take one photo and then you take another photo on top of it. So like one of the things that I like to do, like especially as a second photographer, because it's really fun because I get to like chill, not as much pressure. I get to kind of do whatever I want during portrait time. I will take pictures of flowers and then have the client's faces like as part of these flowers. So it's like this whole like double exposure thing. If you want to look it up, look up photography double exposure. Those are like my favorite things to do, and it's like one of the images like nobody ever shares, except me.
Because it's like
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, same. I think maybe it's like almost like too creative, but also like I like a creative thing. But also while you were saying that, I was just thinking about how you taught yourself that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like crazy to me. And also things that you taught yourself, because I know like at my wedding, you also had a film camera.
Oh yeah, that's new. That's a new thing because you know how like your last pod was about like burnout and everything? Yeah, so we all deal with that. And I went and talked with my local like camera guy and he's like, I would like to shoot film. Like like the photos that I take and the way that I edit my photos is very like I love film and I love the way it looks and I want to like emulate that. And I think I do an okay job at it, you know. But I was like, I would love to actually take photos on film with like an asterisk on that because I do not want to like call myself a film photographer because I really still like it's still such like a like trial and error thing. Like I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for 11, 12 years. I know how things work, but also like when you put a film camera into the mix, it's a completely different experience because it's not immediate gratification anymore. I literally take a roll of pictures and have to hope for the best. And I won't know what those photos look like really for probably 2 to 4 weeks, maybe even a couple of months, depending on how many rolls of film I send them at a time. And it's where there's like, I take the pictures and then I have to send them off to a company to develop them. And like shipping processes, there's like this terrifying like in between of like, are the pictures going to get there? You know, USPS, man.
You never know.
But then they like send me the digital files of these pictures, and like most of the time, I'm like, oh, I do know what I'm doing. Okay, cool. This is cool. But like that was like the one thing for me that I was like, okay, I'm nearing burnout, and I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm like terrified of like losing the love for my business. What can I do to fix this? And that was film photography for me. Like you added it on. I have some clients who are like, I like your film. I would love to do that at my wedding. I'm like, okay, you get one roll of film because it's not like the main thing that I'm doing on your wedding day, but like I try to take like one photo like per moment of the day that's like fun, right? Yeah. So like one getting ready, one detail, one like the first kiss maybe, or like the second kiss at the end of the aisle. Just like those little moments where I'm like, okay, this would be a cool photo to have on film.
And they are great. I mean, I've seen a couple of the film ones that you shot at for our day, and they are like they're great. That Top Golf one is so fun. I love it. But that's like I think you need to like pump yourself up for doing that is for you to be reaching further to find something like if you do feel like you're getting burnt out and like you said you don't want to like lose the love for your business is that you dug deep to find a way to like spark your joy. Yeah, that's props to you. I'm trying to do that right now as well. I haven't found it yet. Okay, give us a day in the life. Obviously, if you're not shooting a wedding, give us a day in the life of Casey.
I roll out of bed, have a cup of coffee. I'm really trying to get into routines. Because again, with the whole burnout thing, it's really hard to like get up in the morning and like want to go to the office. It's just 30 feet from my couch.
I get it.
So it's like I get up, I have my coffee. I'm trying to read like 20 pages of a book every day, which doesn't happen every day, but like at least like the want and the try is there. And then I come into the office around 10 o'clock and I try to answer as many emails as I can, work on any back-end business stuff that I can. Right now, like things are good. I have some weddings that I need to be working on, which is totally fine, but I also have like one session that I need to be working on, and I will call, edit some, work on some emails, and then at noon, I take a break. Because I'm like, okay, well, like, what would a real business person do? What does office folk do?
That's me. I'm like, wait, when am I supposed to eat lunch?
12 and 12:30, Shelby. Every day, set an alarm.
I just forget.
Well, it's easy to forget. That's the other thing is that, like, when you're a business owner and you're doing this from your house, like, it's easy to just, like, look at the floor and be like, ooh, that needs to be vacuumed.
Totally.
Procrastination station over here. It's so much easier to be like, ooh, that load of laundry really needs to be moved over. And then you walk out of the office and you start working on that. But I would say, like, after lunch, I come back in here and I really try to knock out as much as I can. I fully believe in the 4 hour, well, there's like a lot of people that like call it 4 hour work week. I try to call it like a 4 hour work day.
Me
I
too.
try 4 hours of work per day. And that is something that I've been trying to do for probably since 2020, really, because, you know, 2020 like really royally like messed everything up. But since then, it's been like trying to get into routines and trying to make sure that I'm like actually working on the important things and getting things out in a like normal amount of time instead of waiting till the last minute. And the routines have helped a lot. And only working for 4 hours a day really has helped as well.
Yeah, especially for what you do of like staring at a computer. You can only stare at a computer for so long before you want to like poke your eyes out.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't help that I also run my business literally from my phone. So like I'm
I
staring
get
at
it.
Instagram. I'm staring at Facebook. But I mean, I'm not really staring at Facebook, but like I'm trying to make reels and I'm trying like trying to like make and produce content that people are going to want to see.
Right.
And then staying relevant and then just sitting here and going, what am I doing with my life?
I want to touch on something that you just mentioned, which was 2020. And I guess I didn't really think of this per your perspective. Our first shoot that we ever did was in 2020. I was in a mask and we couldn't take it off at the parks. How did 2020 affect you? Did you have like weddings on the calendar that didn't get done?
So I got really, really lucky and I have like the most incredible clients. And I also like, I try to be a human being, right? So like, I know that like, this is your wedding and like, this is like the one thing that you've looked forward to basically your entire life. And for that to be like canceled, not on your terms, was like a whole thing for all of my couples. And so I worked really hard with all of them to make sure that we were able to move them to, there were a few that tried to move to October and I luckily live in Florida. So like our things were lifted a lot quicker than other places and we were able to hold events. I think there were 20, no, incorrect. There were 10 weddings total that had to move. The first wedding that was like affected by COVID was a couple that was supposed to get married on a Saturday, and Tampa was like, we're closing on Saturday. And so they shot their wedding on Friday instead because like their flowers were already here. All their family was already in town. They shot their wedding. And then that was the last thing I did for probably 3 months. And then most of my clients were able to move to another date. I had 3 Disney weddings that had to cancel because Disney was very proactive on trying to make sure like the safety of their guests was like the most important thing to them more than like the wedding itself. And so there were a lot of them that moved to venues in Central Florida and had their events at a separate venue. And then I also photographed weddings for other like colleagues of mine who have children and didn't feel safe like going to a wedding.
Yeah.
And then bringing themselves back home to their kids and their husbands and all of their family. And so I took over probably 2 or 3 weddings during that time for them as well. So like 2020 was really rough, but also 2020 was like monetarily a normal year for me because I did so much at the end of 2020. Let's not talk about 2021 because that was an explosion of all of the things because all the people who moved from 2020 moved into 2021 and I had my 2021 weddings already, so that was like a whole big thing.
Yeah.
We've come out of that.
Hey,
a lot.
If you're a small business that made it through 2020, I'm like convinced that we can get it through anything. So, okay. Last question for business wise. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to be a photographer?
Do it.
I love that.
The wedding photography field or just photography field in general is like just exploding with people who are really great at taking photos. Like I've been doing this again for 11 years, 12, 13 years. And Well, I have grown so much. The industry is also very. It's not like an easy industry to be part of, because there's so many of us. So like do what you want to do. Start the business. If photography, art, any type of creative business that you can think of, like just do it. Try it. If you fail, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because you tried to do something for yourself. And even trying was the step you needed to take in the first place.
Yes. And I obviously am not a photographer, so I don't know this for sure, but I always say to like be true to yourself and what you like. And I think in photography, like sure there are a ton of photographers, but photographers edit their photos like totally different. And for you like to have like the film edit, but you also your photos are always like light, bright, and airy. And for me, I really, really love that. And that's the reason why I would hire you. But then there could be somebody else that does like really dark and moody photos, and that could be somebody else's style. So I think there's room for all photographers, just like I think there's room for any sort of whatever you want to do out there. So I always like it's just another instance of just be true to you and like what you like, because I think there's a reason why like your photos sell, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There is a client for every person, and there is a photographer for every client.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Okay. This is a magical podcast after all. So we have to do a little bit of Disney. And before Courtney jumps into this, I need to ask you a question because you posted on Instagram the other day. You like reintroduced yourself. And you said that you like to go to Disney, but you said that you're not a Disney adult. But like, what makes you decide?
Are you throwing shade? What are you trying to say?
But like, I guess what is a Disney adult? Am I a Disney adult or am I not?
No.
What?
I don't feel like I'm a Disney adult.
What justifies somebody as a Disney adult in Casey's mind? She's a Disney adult.
She doesn't know how to say it without being rude.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I don't want to sound mean. I'm trying not to be a mean person.
Okay, fair. But like, okay. Let me retract my question. What makes you not a Disney adult?
I don't go to the parks for the magic. I go to the parks to just escape, have some popcorn if I remember my bucket, and go home.
Okay.
I am not like I don't look at Disney as like this like end all be all.
All right. Nope. I will accept that answer. That is fair.
Yeah.
I accept that. Okay. Courtney.
Valid.
It's all you. Take it away.
All right, great. I'm excited. And like, don't mess it up, but we have teams for a lot of these questions. So like, we're going to see if you're team Shelby or team Courtney. All right. Rank the parks 1 to 4.
Hollywood Studios, Epcot, Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom.
What order was that? What's your favorite?
Hollywood Studios.
Hollywood Studios.
Oh.
She likes Star Wars.
No, you know what? Hollywood Studios is ranking as like my second favorite right now.
Same.
It's really hitting.
Magic Kingdom has been a whole deal. We just did Tron.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Courtney gave her take on that. We'd love to hear yours. Don't give anything away, but yay, nay.
I'm still a Guardians Cosmic Rewind fan forever.
Okay, fair. I think the best thing that Courtney said, which I haven't rode Tron, so I don't really know, but she said Tron is the perfect roller coaster for Magic Kingdom.
Yes. Ooh, see, but I'm like nostalgia person. I still would like rank Space Mountain before I would. I'm like the weird one.
For me, it's more an appreciation of the speed of the roller coaster. Oh my God, it's so cute. Like it's not like a kiddie roller coaster, Tron. It's definitely like geared up, but it's not rock and roller coaster. It's not like gonna scare the pants off anyone. I think people are just gonna like have a great time.
It's the good in between, but I do think that there were some things that they could have fixed that they chose not to.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. It's just a little bit more inclusive to the American human being.
Oh, I agree. I sat in the back row because I was afraid of vomiting. And sorry, Shelby, but I did, and I loved it. I just like wanted to have my hands about me, you know, in case of emergency. But like, I agree with you. And we saw a lot of people while we were waiting in line that did have to like go around. And I'm not even talking about like gigantic people or like whatever. We're talking about like very normal people. That
I think it's a very because the friend that I rode with ended up moving to the back. But the guy, our cast member was incredible. Like he was like, move here, move here, move here, move here, move here. And then she was like, I'm literally just going to get up. Like, please let me get up and go to the back. But it was one of those where it was like, there in no way, shape, or form should she have had to move kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it was one of those situations where I was like, okay, things they could have done better. One, not made it this way.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I haven't rode yet, and Courtney, you brought that up when we did talk about it. So I think it's going to, once it is like fully open to the public, it's going to be even more of a topic of conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think ambiance, 10 out of 10. Ride queue, 10 out of 10. Like all of the things, again, it's a carbon copy. So like 10 out of 10. They did it the way that it already was. And it was a really great ride. Very fun. Loved it. Guardians is better. I'll stand on the rooftop.
I mean, Guardians is so freaking good. So Courtney doesn't understand.
I don't get it.
Okay, go.
Okay. Those were your 4 parks. What is your favorite resort?
Probably Riviera, because we did our honeymoon there.
You honeymooned at Riviera?
Yeah, we did a honeymoon for 2 nights. Yeah.
How sweet. Did you like do the pool and the whole staycation vibe, or did you do the parks?
We did the parks.
But
also like we did the parks all the time. So it was more of like wake up whenever we want, go to the park. Our thing was more food related and trying to like do the things that we don't usually do and then spending the money on the food things because like we don't have to drive an hour on top of paying $1 million for our Topolino's food, you know. So that was
exactly. You get to indulge and enjoy.
Yeah.
On the
also,
go ahead.
Being on the Skyliner thing was kind of nice because then we could go to Epcot, which is number 2, and we go to Hollywood Studios, which is number 1. So we were like, it's a good image.
Makes sense for you.
Yeah.
One more question on resorts. A favorite resort to shoot at?
Oh.
Grand Floridian.
Grand Floridian.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because I really love white backgrounds and green grass, and they have both of those things. Riviera is too small. There's not enough places to go. Oh, you know, I did just do a wedding at Coronado, and really was impressed by some of the like areas from the Grand Destino Tower and like over into like Old Resort area. Like they've done some really great things, and I was like, ooh, this would be a good place for photos later. So like maybe that would be like my close second because it's a very like it's a good vibe, especially for Florida.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I had to interrupt there.
No, I love it. And also, like, can we do a photo shoot at Coronado? That would be fun.
Okay, great.
Okay, great. Shelby, get on the shirt.
Wait, I'm the one saying, I'm the one saying, okay, great, as if it's up to me. You know I'm going to be there. We need the photographer to be there.
Right.
You just send me the sneak peeks and then I'll be like, yes, this will work. Perfect.
Okay, we do have dates that we need to ask you about, but that's for another time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Do you have, I mean, of course you have, but like what are your must ride, like number 1 best rides in each park? Top pick.
Well, definitely Guardians. I still think it's a pain that we have to get the virtual queue.
Yeah.
And I'm really questioning if they will ever like not have virtual queue for it because the queue itself is very short. And so I'm like, all right, are we going to have this forever? Or are we going to like eventually make it where we don't have to do this after like the 1 p.m. one? I don't know. We'll see. So Guardians will be my number 1. And then for Hollywood Studios, I would say, well, for me, it's Tower of Terror. Logan is not a Tower of Terror fanatic. He is a rock and roller coaster fan.
I thought you were going to say Rise.
I know. Yeah, we love Rise, and we love the way that it's built, and we love the whole like start to finish of Rise. But like, we're thrill ride junkies, and it's more of a show versus a thrill.
Fair.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Animal Kingdom, One Passage. Ooh,
really?
With a close for me, it would be Everest, probably.
She's a thrill ride.
You are. Yeah, you are a thrill junkie.
Yeah. Get me past the Busch Gardens. I'll run all the roller coasters all day.
I mean, I will too, so.
I'll go to Busch Gardens anytime, as an aside. So, like, if we decide that's a trip we want to take sometime, let's go to Busch Gardens. I don't ride any of the rides there, but I love the animals.
Okay, great.
Okay, sorry. Magic Kingdom favorite ride?
Definitely Space Mountain.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Thrill
rides. Always been Space Mountain. It's always been Space Mountain. And I will say, like, even like for Disneyland, I really love Space Mountain, but also Tower of Terror there, which is no Tower of Terror, it's Guardians.
And it's so much better. Sorry. It is.
You don't think so?
Oh, no, I agree.
Okay. It's so much better.
I love our Tower of Terror. Nostalgia. Tower of Terror, 10 out of 10. But also their Tower of Terror. I also think the ride's a little different, too. So, like, it's just better.
It's just so good.
Cool.
It's so good. It's so good.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Okay, and then our last question is about snacks. What are your fave Disney snacks?
Shelby, what do you think my favorite snack is?
Her favorite Disney snack is popcorn. If she remembers her popcorn bucket.
I leave it in the car every single time.
Oh.
I have like 8 popcorn buckets, and I still manage to leave it in the car at almost every trip. I will say, "Come better."
The first time I ever met her, we were doing a shoot for Pixie, and she was like, "I'm gonna be late because I was like on the monorail, and then I forgot my popcorn bucket, so I'm going back to the car to get my popcorn bucket."
Oh my god!
I was like,
"That's awesome."
Okay, but like one thing to like let everybody know is that the popcorn bucket will only cost you like what is it, like $13, $14. The regular one, like the literal bucket, only costs you like $13, $14. And like while it says that it's only good for your stay, refills are $2.25. I mean, if you live here in Florida, isn't that your entire stay?
Yeah, I think so too.
She's not wrong.
And then they came out with the pass holder bucket, so like my refills are also always $2.25.
Nice.
Cheapest Disney snack is also the popcorn.
She's
and are
wrong.
you like down for the classic butter popcorn, or are you like an Epcot? They have like a maple popcorn, or like.
Did not like the maple popcorn.
No?
Yeah, because like, okay, classic butter popcorn, 10 out of 10, especially like Disney must put something on it that like makes it even more magical.
Agree.
But like 10 out of 10 with the like butter popcorn, because like the maple popcorn, like while it's good immediately after they put it in your bucket, like 30 minutes later, it's just a ball of popcorn.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
We all know the popcorn I like.
What popcorn do you like?
In Germany.
Oh, well, who doesn't?
But you can't get that for $2.50.
Right. That's not coming in your bucket.
That's not coming in my bucket.
That comes in its own bag.
Yeah, it's so good, though. Oh, it's so good.
So good.
Okay. Before we end this and get your tip to how to live magically, where can the people find you?
There's like 4 different places, but like number 1 would be www.caseymariephotography.com.
Woohoo!
And then Casey Marie Photography on Instagram. Casey with 1 S.
Casey with 1 S.
Can you spell it out?
CASIE.
Casey.
Yeah. Oh, so fun fact for you. my parents were going to name me Casey no matter what I was when I came out. I was a surprise at the hospital. We don't know if we're having a boy or a girl situation. So I was going to be Casey if I was a boy, and IE if I was a girl.
Oh,
Yeah.
So IE
I love
it
that.
was.
Yeah.
If people wanted to schedule a shoot with you, they should go on your website or message you on Instagram.
100% website, because those come directly into my email, and it makes it a lot easier for me to communicate with people. People get lost in my DMs, let's be real. It happens to everybody. If you message me via DM, which is totally like, okay, I mean, I'll accept it. But I may not get back to you for a day or two. And then I'm literally just going to be like, hey, can you come into my inquiry page on the website? Here's the link. Have a great day. I love you so much.
Yes. So CaseyMariePhotography.com. Perfect.
Awesome.
And before we let you go, we need you to give your tip to how to live magically, something that, you know, you've learned through, suppose, your 12 years of teaching yourself how to do photography or just life in general.
My tip for living magically would have to be doing what you love and learning to do it well.
Yes.
I think that that's one of the things that I've learned in the 31 years I've been on this planet is that you have to, like, even if it's just the little things, like learning a new skill and learning to do it well. Always trying something if you want to try it. Being like willing to do any of the things and always trying something for the first time. Because like we all love new experiences, right? So
I love
if
that.
you're scared to do it, just do it.
That is why we are in the same group of friends, because I believe that too.
Yep.
We've always preached, just do it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Yeah, Casey, thank you.
Thanks for having me. I feel honored.
Of course, we've been waiting for this day. I'll be down there in mid-April, so we would like to schedule a shoot, by the way.
Okay, sounds good. I'll be there.
And I want to get on like a monthly subscription plan. I don't know if you want to like create one, but if we could just meet like once a month for photos and friendship, that would be a delight.
It would really
like monthly for friendship.
I mean, like, yes, but like I want also the photo. Here's my magical takeaway from this episode and from working with you. Like, you talked about how you're always part of somebody's magical moment because it's like a wedding or a big event or some kind of like occasion. I love that you capture also for us, like the time we stayed in a cabin at Fort Wilderness. Like, so stupid, but now because we have those pictures, I remember that. Like, I remember it better, but also like it monumented the experience, right? It made us like sit in the damn cabin and appreciate it for a minute and like enjoy the couch, enjoy the little mugs, jump on the bunk bed.
Stand here and hold this coffee cup.
Awkwardly stand here and hold this coffee cup. But like memories to last a lifetime. So I'm all about, I think it's really cool that you do photos for like legitimate big ceremonial moments for people, but also one of the coolest things since I've gotten to know you is doing pictures like just randomly. There's always a purpose, but like making an ordinary moment into like a very special occasion. I think that's really cool, and thanks for doing that.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Sure.
We do.
And we appreciate you for, I thought this is what you were going to say, Courtney, is that you wanted her to take photos because after we get the photos, we just feel so confident.
Yes.
She always captures our good side.
She really does.
So if that didn't convince you to hire Casey next time you need photos, then I don't know what will.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you, and we will see you real soon. Bye.
Bye.
Whew. You crushed it.
My face hurts.
Isn't it a lot?
And I really need to cough.
Let it out. Let it out.
Yeah, it's like a lot to do this, to be on.
Yeah.
I always tell Courtney that after we leave. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired.
Yeah, we always need a nap afterwards.
We don't socialize this much.
I get to like go outside and like try to stain in polyurethane a new swing.
Ooh,
All right.
Right?
that's
Yeah.
crappy.
Catch that on
And now I feel
Instagram
like I have
later.
to go post it on the Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
sorry,
better.
you do.
We want to see it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
All right. Well, I'll probably text you in a few.
Okay.
Thanks.
and like I really do want to get on like a monthly plan. So if you decide that that's the thing you want to do, like
Yeah.
to hang out and be friends, but also like both. Like I would like to pay you to take photos, but then also I would like to do friendship things. I just like
Friendship.
both. Yeah.
You know, if you like get on the friendship thing, then you don't really have to pay for the picture.
No, but no.
we
don't
believe in that, and you know that.
We don't support that.
God,
We don't
even
support that.
offer that.
I mean, it's very nice and like
I don't know
appreciate
why she
that maybe
offers
you
that.
might not charge me $2,000 for 30 minutes, but like we charge.
We pay.
Okay, good. Good talk. Good talk.
Alrighty. We'll talk soon.
I guess you can't. Bye.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.